get online and share this with people. We got an exciting evening for ready for tonight.
Let's talk about that.
Hello. How are you?
I'm so good.
Uh-oh, it's Pastor on the street.
Look.
I want the world to know, got to let it show.
What is that? What are you doing?
You normally come on all dancing and stuff, so that was my dance.
Listen, yes, you're absolutely
Well,
right.
that just made me dizzy. Hold on.
Yeah, I was because you can't move and talk at the same time. It just doesn't work in your zhuzh. What's going on, Johnson?
Happy Pride! Happy Friday!
Yeah, happy Friday. Happy Friday and happy Pride. I see you, Trinice. Thank you so much for joining us.
She on early. Pastor. Hey, Pastor.
That means right. What's up, Pastor? That means they have refreshments in their hands.
Cheers.
Oh, do not tell her to dance. We all know that if she dances, what happens is that she ends up tripping or
don't come for me unless I send for you, Mr. Robinson. So, okay, let's talk about that. I didn't see it. I didn't see it before. What's that shirt say? Oh, is that love is love? Okay, Superman.
This is the gayest t-shirt that I have. And since we were celebrating Pride, I thought I should go search for, because I just knew you were going to come out with the gayest t-shirt. But then you came out with that stuff that you had about, on my way to therapy. And then you changed it. So that's really low key too. I mean, normally you're like very like boom in your face. So I thought that I would search for this shirt. Okay.
Well, you good on you. Good on you.
Yes. I wanted to wear something that represented Pride. I mean, it's not black people, but
you'll get over it. We know that.
I'm gonna color them.
Hey, John. Hey, Chrissy. Yeah, John got my alcohol declaration of interest.
In his hand. I can't with him. I can't. I love it. I think John just received some kind of award. Congratulations, or something. I remember reading up on it.
Yeah, birthday.
Your birthday too? Okay, cool. How are you feeling today?
I'm a little spent. It's busy for me at work. Busy, so I'm always busy, but we're slammed right now. So, I did some extraordinary methods to make sure that I was here and not trying to call in from the car and getting all kinds of messages and stuff like that. So I am here. I am happy. I am just still on a real high from the launch of my employee resource group, Prism, at Allegiance yesterday.
How was that?
It was amazing. Shout out to Ashton. The vision. So Pastor put me on salary. That's why I leave that. The vision that I had was reminiscent of what we do here. Sean will take care of me. Okay, you see that, Sean? But Ashton took my vision and he manifested it into something beautiful, and got to introduce my company to Archbishop and Born This Way, and just gave some history on that, and it just was really, really good. So
good to hear. Good to hear. Shout out to Ashton. Yes. Shout out to your organization, your agency that was willing to allow you to lead that effort and embrace it, right? As we are talking about, pride and diversity and inclusion and equality. Listen, I had a situation that happened this
I want to hear about this.
Oh my God, I had to call my pastor and tell him, like, how you going to just leave us out there hanging? You teach us this way, get us all sensitive and all like aware, and we all to the next level. And like, we're like there consciously open and consciously, just like boom. And we on a leadership call with some of the top executives with my agency, a federal government, one of the premier law enforcement agencies in the world. And one of the law enforcement or one of the leaders make a comment that says, as she is talking about how tough and how that we have to continue to strive to motivate our teams and staff. And she goes, leadership is not for sissies. So I was just sitting there like, And mind you, I'm laying in the bed because it was a 7:30 call, and you know me at 7:30. And I literally got up and sat on the side of the bed and said, "You are not going to say anything, Sean. Like not today, because you constantly keep checking these people, white people specifically, about their diversity awareness, and clearly they don't have any. So, you know, obviously." My spirit just said, what you're not going to do is just sit here, because that ain't going to happen sitting under Jamie Washington. I mean, just do that, right? And I had to tell them, hey, listen, let's talk about, you know, as we're talking about leadership, we have to talk about the fact that it is Pride Month, and be mindful of the language that we use, because it's very offensive to associate leadership with sissies, as if sissies or however you want to define it. I mean, we went in, the room was crickets. The line just 25 plus people on the line, and it just was like crickets. And so obviously, one of my colleagues hit me up, and she was like, I just got to say something. I was like, well, why aren't you saying nothing? Yeah. And so, but I didn't immediately text Pastor a couple hours later and was like, what you did teach us is how to deal with the emotional distraught state that white people get in when they are made uncomfortable and pushed to open up their awareness. And so I was like 4 hours into phone calls. We're talking about that. So it was a great conversation with Mr. Dr. Reverend Jamie Washington, as we were talking about how average, as you move up the ladder, you find that people really are. And so, you know, one of the things that I did appreciate is that out of that conversation came some opportunity for people to get clear about some things. And so,
and that's what it's about, right? It's about creating the conversation. Yeah.
And the other thing is that we need to talk about at some point the energy that it takes to combat that, and to be the one that's willing to continue to stand up and talk. Like, people need to know that it is uncomfortable, even for us to kind of like insert to say, hey, but it's a charge that we take at some point. So
that's right. That's right. And that's why. Oh, go on.
No, I was going to make reference to the napkin that I wrote about elevation in terms of being in the room. And so every time something like this happens, I'm reminded of that moment of, hey, you need to be in the room. And so, you know, you need to push aside all the other stuff that you are holding and just get in the room. So that's what I would name. So it was a very interesting and taxing week. So yeah, there we have it. So what were you going to share?
Beautifully said. And so I don't remember what I was going to say at that moment. But what I would offer here is, yes, that's why it's necessary to push past the whatever stuff we have going on, right? Yeah. So like for you, the napkin, you had stuff going on that you didn't feel like you needed to fulfill their ask to follow the process, right? Yeah. But sometimes it just does take that writing on the napkin to you, miss you. But yeah.
I realized that we have to push aside. You know, I was really militant in a way, I guess, of not wanting to. I don't need to prove who I am to you. Yeah. And you know, I was like, oh, you need to see it, and I was trying to not to follow the process, to be in the room to help make these decisions. And as we are talking about enterprise architecture or business wide, you know, we have to. I can't with you. And we have to talk about, you know, what makes those decisions, right?
And we know that you now, so you've done away with the napkin, and now it's just capitalizing on the opportunity, right? So,
because I think we did that last night.
Oh my gosh, we have to find some time before the end of this weekend to in on some conversations that we have had this week. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you, Sean's always signing us up.
We do need to get the Game Changers rescheduled because honestly, we do have to arm them with that influence and encouragement to stand up when our community is being trashed or bashed or oppressed again. Like, it's 2021.
Our community, it's any community, because what I feel is what we learn. So while it may be a lens of LGBTQ, whatever, it's the behavior that I feel we learn that allows us to be able to show up in any situation. Doesn't mean if they're calling us sissies or niggas, right? It's the behavior to be able to speak up no matter what.
Okay, I can get there. I can get there. Yeah, and how that lands for people in terms of impact, right? And so,
and being able to deal with it, right?
Right, because the reaction is key. Right, because I could have let it go, and you could have let many things go, and I think that I agree with you.
No, I couldn't let many things go. That's not.
No, I guess what I want to name is that you could have if you wanted to. That was a choice. You just exercise the right to do what you know to do best. That's what I mean. How did I clean it up?
I think what I learned, what I've gotten better at is the delivery of it, right? Because
I'm still working on that.
So I'm still working on it as well, but it's one of those things where I'll get it out there, and for a long time didn't care how it landed. If it was, you could deal with it or you couldn't. I got it out because I felt some kind of way about what you said, did, or acted.
Well, what I learned yesterday through the conversation of Washington was that unless you're getting paid to do something, your delivery has to match that. I get it. I was told that my delivery in terms of checking the white people were a little authoritative, and I get that. You know how I communicate, and Washington kind of enforced that. That's when they want to tell you that you check this, but I need you to watch your tone and in terms of know your place. But obviously I didn't back out of that. It was just. But I'm glad to hear another Black gay male, strong male or male period, was just there to influence us. Go, absolutely, what you did right was absolutely what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And to remind me that don't let nobody hush you up. Like, don't let nobody hush you. And he brilliantly navigated the scenario of getting paid to do diversity inclusion work, and as one that's in terms of being part of the system there. So
yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah, that's why we call him. That's why we call him. And lean not to our own understanding, but hold on to David's unchanging hand. Okay, we're gonna move on. So the bishops of Unity Fellowship Church Movement had a town hall last night, and they were absolutely amazing. If you missed it, you missed the treat. But there's an opportunity that you can go back to UFC Baltimore's page and Unity Fellowship Church Movement's YouTube page. While you're there, subscribe and watch the Bishop's Town Hall.
Not only that, but also come to Refuel, because we broadcasted it from Refuel as well. I mean, we had an opportunity to open it up with them and host it. So that was really powerful to allow them to let us, to trust us with it.
I didn't think you did.
Oh,
I didn't think you did.
What's amazing is you could have just gone along with it. I mean, thank you. Right, but you didn't have to announce that. The people didn't know. Anyway, still go and subscribe to where we are right now. How about that? That's what the goal was, Ashton.
Okay.
You did tell us to make sure we get some subscriptions today.
Okay. Yes. All right. Okay. Fine. So we have the Bishop's Town.
Where are we at? Because we have to move along, because we have an amazing guest that I am excited to talk about. So listen. Are there any church anniversaries going on? There are.
Oh, I forgot I was shaking my head. Yes, there is. We are having. So this month, the last Sunday,
I can't with you. I just can't.
June 27th, we will be celebrating. There wasn't anything up there, so I didn't know that. We will be celebrating. Unity Fellowship Church of Baltimore, will be celebrating our pastor's anniversary June 27th at our 10:30 service, streaming live from all of our mediums that we stream from, and the illustrious, the incomparable, the incredible, our sister, another one of our pastors and leaders and people that we have on speed dial to call to talk us off of any ledges or tangents that we on. Pastor Marissa Pendermon will be the guest speaker. So make sure that you're in a place. We're going to flood social media here soon with advertisements and reminders about it. So make sure to check us out.
So a little bit about the town hall. Did you? So again, if you haven't checked it out, he right beatitude Bishop talked about. Did I get that right?
You did.
Okay, talked about what democracy means for our convocation. He even talked about a little bit of what the title means. And so if you're confused or if you have, hey, what does that mean? I will invite you to go check that out. Also, they talked about, Senior Bishop talked about initiatives as well as some of the communication efforts that they're trying to do in terms of updating websites and giving you avenues to do things. So I just wanted to quickly name that in terms of that. And so,
and he talked about and he talked about the Archbishop. And I thought what was really beautiful is he shared that many people may feel abandoned by the Archbishop, that he just kind of faded off. And while there were, very important reasons why he made the decisions that he made, that there was no formal, retirement, farewell. The Archbishop has the imprint. Unity Fellowship Movement is because of, and so the Right Beatitude Bishop talked about that. So check that out. The Archbishop is still well taking care of himself, and will still have a presence of him as time goes on, and needed to do what he needed to do for him. He has instilled us. I may be closely quoting Right Beatitude with this. He has instilled us with what we need to go on, what we need to continue to write the vision, continue to hold up the banners, to continue to fight for justice everywhere. And so,
yeah,
we go on. We go on.
Yeah. No, it was really good. So check it out. I see you, Maurice Cook. We need to chat. Absolutely. Figure out how we can get our schedules connected, because there's so much work that we want to do with you. And I appreciate you mentioning some sponsorship. So we will get with you, and we've already asked Bishop Thomas to connect out with you. So look out for that invite. We do want to have a sit down with you. So shout outs to you. Shout outs to Christy. We love you. We really love you. We see that you are moving well, and I love that. So shout outs to you. Loretta, we see you out there. Thank you for trusting with the conversation this week. So hello. So where do we want to go now? I know we got to bring on our guest, right?
Yeah, let's go right there.
And we're gonna. So for those that was like, oh, that's not kind of the way this show goes, just remember that we're gonna come back.
It's our show.
It's not our show.
It's our show.
So we can do what we want.
We do what? So tonight, yes. I don't know if this tonight show. I'm gonna go with Pride. I don't know if we had a theme. I haven't.
It's Pride. I think we should open it up. I mean, so it's Children's Month, right?
Good. Pride. We ain't got there yet. So I just wanted to go with Pride here. We are, when we're so happy. Thank you, Ashton, for, I don't know if he got a chance to chat with you, Sean, but I knew this was in the pocket for tonight. But thank you for.
No, I didn't know it was in the pocket. Nope, did not.
Okay. So thank you for going on anyhow and making sure that we were right for tonight. So our guest, Christopher N. Smith, is a program analyst within the field leadership cadre and co-founder of FEMA's Pride LGBTQ+ ERG, Employee Resource Group, and co-chair as co-chair, and Christopher leads the ERG that supports the development and implementation of diversity, inclusion, and equality programs and policies in relations to all LGBTQI communities, furthering the agency's broader diversity, equality, and inclusion goals through employee engagement, recruitment, professional development, retention, and guides the effects outreach to the diverse LGBTQ plus communities it represents before, during, and after disasters. Smith is a PhD student at Howard University. Shout out to Howard University. Focused on higher education and policy concerning LGBTQ plus and non-consensual, non-monogamous students. Prior education includes a Master's of Arts in Religious Studies. This is why, so y'all, we told him that they had to change their schedule because we had a lot to talk about. And as we continue to read the bio, we understand this. So Master's in Religious Studies with a concentration in religions and society, a bachelor's in science and psychology with a minor in anthropology, and an associate's applied study in criminal justice. This person been in school for a long time. Smith has an
sounds like your wife.
Sounds like my wife. Extensive experience with education, human services, criminal justice sector, authority, and many academics. Works about advocacy for marginalized population. Is on the board of advisory for Relationship Equality Foundation and a team chair of the American Psychological Association Committee on Consensual Non-Monogamy. Without further ado, because I got to take a drink because I've been talking for a long time trying to read this bio.
Well, I was shocked that you read that entire piece. Like, because normally you'd be like, skits, got, whoa. Let's bring on Christopher.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm happy it's Friday. I'm on a dry June, so I would be having a drink with you all, but the month of June, I decided to celebrate Pride sober. So we'll see how it goes.
So they didn't say that before we got.
Wait. The other thing is we call it refreshments, and that means whatever, orange juice, apple juice, whatever, whatever you wish, water, whatever, refreshment that would refresh you.
That's
right. That's what we call it.
Libations of all sorts.
Yeah, I have iced tea.
There you go.
So listen, before we get started, what are your pronouns and sexual orientation? I want to kind of get that really clear, and then can you explain what that means for you so that the people will know?
Yeah, so definitely my pronouns are they, them, omni. Omni is one that people really don't hear about a lot because it's more so of the inclusion of all gender. I feel like people can encompass every single gender identity because we're people. We can be different according to situations or according to how we're conditioned in different places. Like if you look at masculinity and femininity in a different country, it bodes different than it does in the United States. And if we go to that country long enough, we may change the way we look at masculinity, femininity, or even identity. So I really think that we as people need to accept that we can be all of them, like omniscient. We can be all of these things.
Okay. So what was the term again? I just want to make sure I got it.
Omni.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they sexuality, pansexual. Actually, that's something I recently came to within the last 3 years. Started off straight, and then allowed myself to explore more. I studied liberation theology. Shout out to Howard University School of Divinity.
Shout out to that. That's where I mastered.
Yes. I read the bio. I was like, okay, HU, so now identify as pansexual. And
nice. Actually, I have a friend that's pansexual, and we always have conversations, and a lot of people aren't aware of what that means. So can you explain to our audience what that means?
So for me, how it operates in my life, it's an ability to attract or be attracted to, whether romantically or sexually, to anybody or any person that exists. Some people put that in bisexuality as well because some people don't like the binariness of bisexuality. Yeah. Even though definition wise it's two, but we're here, we're open, and we're allowing people to be able to define themselves. So sexuality for me, I'm just if you're a person and I like you, I like you.
Good. Talk a little bit more about your doctor of focus.
All right, so my focus is really on advocacy for LGBTQIA plus and consensual non-monogamous students on just particularly African-American consensual non-monogamous students on college campuses. LGBTQIA has already had a pretty good push when it comes to academia, but there's very little research on consensual non-monogamy and the intersections of the two. So you'll have students who come from backgrounds, whether it be religious-based or just because their parents or guardians want to do so, with multiple parents in their household. And they won't feel safe at all talking about that. The university won't acknowledge that. We'll say it's Parents Weekend. They won't acknowledge it at all. We'll say that student is consensual and non-monogamous. There's no safe spaces for them to meet with other people who feel like they can be in multiple loving, romantic, non-sexual, sexual, or emotionally fulfilling, mentally fulfilling relationships with students. It's always looked at as they're hoeing around or they're just not able to commit. But the truth is, these people, a lot of them are committing because they're being upfront and honest about what it is they want from each relationship and allowing that communication back and forth. They deserve to be respected and acknowledged.
Okay. And so what led you, was it your own self journey that led you to this, or what was it for you?
It was a mixture of my own self journey and also my studies again at Howard. I went to religion. There was two realms you could go. You could have gone the master's divinity route, which is more for people who want to practice religion or be in the practice, like being a pastor. But then the religious studies route was the academic route. So I focused really on, we did have to take care and focus on the Abrahamic religions, but then I looked at Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Taoism, and a lot of them, particularly Hinduism, which is really the oldest religion to exist, already had structures built in for multiplicity.
Right. Okay.
So tell me what the benefit or impact that has been for you in your work.
Oh man. So so when it comes to my work, when it comes with FEMA, I'm really the first person bringing consensual non-monogamy to the spectrum. I make sure to shout out everything that's going on. For example, in Berkeley, California, they just passed laws where consensual non-monogamous groups or people in relationships can have domestic partnerships. So they have legal rights, they have legal protections, if all of that.
So do me a favor. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Chris. Define consensual non-monogamous people. Like define that for the people.
Okay, so consensually non-monogamous people are people who, with consent and communication, agree to be in multiple romantic, emotional, physically, non-physical, mental relationships with multiple people.
Did y'all catch that? I want everybody to catch that. Can you repeat that one more time for the people?
So again, it is when people with consent and communication agree to be able to be in emotional, sexual, non-sexual, like physically non-sexual, mental, intellectual, whatever type of relationship you want to be in with other people.
Now, do you have, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So in those multiple relationships, are there different entities? So can I have one where I'm sexual but then another where I'm not sexual, but then another?
You can have whatever you like.
Because it's about being honest and truthful.
It's the communication.
Yeah, the communication piece. Yeah.
It really breaks down the blueprint that intimate relationships have to be sexual. And a lot of the things that we base our relationships off is sexuality based. We're trying to break that down. Sexuality is not the center of relationship. And actually at some point, hopefully it's not me, but sex stops for people. Or if you are a male and happen to be a penis bearing individual, you might have to pop some pills to keep it popping. So at some point, sex should not be, and I don't think sex should ever be the center of anybody's relationship. But if it is, be honest about that. Say this is a sexual-based relationship, so people don't put other things on it that you may not want or may not desire or that may not be maintainable. It's just that honesty.
Yeah. So you said you started off strictly. What did you say in the beginning?
Straight.
Striggity straight. Okay, so let's. I'm gonna. And this is not on the thing, so I'm taking this off. Sorry, Ashton.
It's okay.
So striggity straight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Black. Do you identify as Black African American?
Yes.
So black man, striggity straight.
Mhm.
What? Okay, thank you. So how do you get there? Pardon,
Okay.
what's your age range, if you don't mind?
34.
Okay, so 34. So 34 so right now, aware where you are right now with everything you gave us before, come striggity straight before. And did you have a churched background?
Oh, extremely.
Okay, so tell us, Chris.
So before he tell us, I'm gonna need you to text whatever you have next. And
I already did. Already did. We're
Okay.
good to go.
And
Chris, we appreciate you being with us tonight.
Yeah.
And there's a lot here. We're gonna capitalize on this because
Let's
all
get it.
these schools and lessons, you probably busy. We don't know when we're gonna get you here again.
all right,
So
we gotta get you when we can. So tell us a little bit about that church background, how that influenced and impacted
don't
you.
change my question. Don't change my question. Don't change my question. Go by my question, please.
Got you. So I'll start with the progression. My parents grew up in a cultist church that was very cultic in Baltimore, Maryland. That's where my family's from.
Woo!
They're off Evanston Avenue. I'm not going to name what it is. It's still
Okay.
Evanston Avenue.
We're gonna be here all day, Chris. Go on.
So they moved us from that church to a American Baptist church, right? Still very strict sexually. They did the True Love Waits conferences. They tried to pray the gay away, even though half the people in the place were fooling around, cheating, all of that stuff, right? I called myself, it was Super Jesus. Like, you can tell me anything.
I've never heard that. Super.
Yes.
Super Jesus. Like, if you had a problem, I didn't want to listen to you. I would immediately start praying for you.
I'm praying. Go for it. Yeah, I know that.
The Bible said everything. It didn't matter if it didn't say it, if it didn't mention it. It didn't matter if it was in the wrong language. Like, the Bible said it.
Okay.
Super Jesus.
I get to college, I start joining different groups, and I get exposed to Christianity and just religion in a different way. And that was my first exposure to liberation theology. First exposure to having non-sexual intimate relationships with other men. Like, that was the first time I found myself okay enough to cuddle with other men or to hug other men or even just to be emotional around other men. And there, it really pushed me forward up into, okay, well, if that's okay, why isn't this okay? And if we're not hurting each other, if there's nothing wrong with this, if I'm not cheating on you, if I'm not purposely being emotionally toxic or mentally toxic, if we are building together something that is healthy, why is this against God's will?
What translation? I feel we need a whole hour or 2 hours for this to even unpack that. Because, we are taught not to do that. We are taught not to be emotional with other men. We are taught not to trust other men and in terms of our experiences. And so it is refreshing to hear you talk about, questioning that.
Yeah. And it was necessary to question it because now I've been able to experience a level of just humanhood through that.
Humanhood.
Just humanhood.
Yeah.
Whether somebody identifies as a man, a woman, a mermaid, trans man, trans woman, you could be a unicorn. Doesn't matter. I can still find a way to connect with you because I see you as like me. I see you as us. And it was pushing through that. And then I had the privilege of going and getting ordained in a church out in Phoenix, Arizona. It was a Pentecostal church. It's kind of like it was one of those smaller Pentecostal churches. Doing that for a while, and I was like, I don't have enough knowledge. I need to go to divinity school. And it was in divinity school where everything really just clicked. There was a professor by the name of Dr. Nwako. He walked into his course. The first thing he said was, leave your Jesus at the door.
Johnson, leave your Jesus at the door.
Leave your Jesus at the door. I don't know what that Jesus is, but the Jesus you're about to learn about is not the one that you know.
I love it.
And I left that Jesus at the door. Now my Jesus is super queer, loves the Vogue, has everything.
Did you go through a grieving process?
No.
Okay.
And I did not grieve the loss of that Jesus.
Okay. And do you think because you were the academic route that you were able to release, or you did not have that grieving process?
No, I didn't have the grieving process because I saw how the strict adherence to doctrine can destroy families. My family was destroyed because
So there was
my
more of a
father could not
logical-
accept.
Yeah, that was more of a logical thinking there, a more critical thinking in terms of this and that. What makes more sense to you? Yeah, I get. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
So were you emotionally tied to the doctrine of the old way of what was taught?
I was emotionally tied until I saw it fail my family.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about that.
So my sister came out when I was 16, and that's really what started me questioning before I went to college. Came out to my father and said, "Hey, I'm gay." He called her, I love my dad to death. We've all been healing and dealing with this 17 years later, so we're on the right track. But called her like a pedophile. Kicked her out of, she could never come back. My mom laying on the floor like, "Oh, my baby's gonna go to hell." Used to my family being together. My family, I was taught that my family was everything and that God was the head, the father next, then the mother, but everybody's working together to maintain family and that Jesus is love. All I saw no love. Period. All I saw was somebody was uncomfortable with something and then they completely disrespected somebody. And then when they were called on it, refused to back down, even though they were acting the most unchristly way possible. At that point, I emotionally disconnected from it. Because I was like, this makes no sense. How am I going to emotionally connect to something that is literally, if acted out in this way, going to destroy what God in the Bible says is the most important piece of your life, which is your family? It was the most hypocritical thing I had ever seen in my life. And there's one thing that I do not attach to is hypocrites.
And so you had this experience and it's moved you through this way of thinking and journey. And you've connected with this new, your sense of reality, I would name. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so how does that then move into, and I love this piece that I'm about to name, and Johnson, you mentioned it earlier, Black male working in federal government.
Okay, so
I can relate to that wholeheartedly. So talk about your experience in that. And I brilliantly, I've been using that word all night, but that was, I appreciate you trusting us and naming that about your family and naming about that experience. And obviously that definitely influenced you to think differently and how you transition to where you are today. Now, how do you show up in the other areas with other people?
So when it comes to Hurricane Katrina, I had a partner that was a victim and survivor of Hurricane Katrina, and I saw how it completely devastated her life. It was the most traumatic thing I've seen a group of people go through in my young life. Literally have to be uprooted because there was a sector of people who were trusted to make sure that a city could survive through emergency management and risk management, but just refused to. That's why I jumped into what I do now. I did not want to see another group of people, particularly those that are ultra marginalized. So we're talking about trans people, gay people, we're talking about intersex people, we're talking about asexual people, we're talking about the whole spectrum who had a different, or I would say an intersectional level of pain from that upheaval. Because a lot of them already didn't have anything because they were already ostracized in the communities down there. So they weren't even considered, they weren't even thought about. They were an afterthought. And I saw how that impacted every last one of the people that I came in contact with. And I knew that if I had a chance to jump into an agency that's directly in charge of providing services to these people, I'm going to make sure my voice is loud enough that people of color that are gay, that people of color that are lesbian, that people of color that are queer, that people of color are trans, and the whole, we're going to be put on the forefront. You're not going to ignore us. Because I've seen that. I've seen what it is. I've seen the trauma. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen people not being able to sleep while still being ostracized by their parents for being what they are and their family. So imagine surviving a disaster, moving to a new place, and then being kicked out again.
Wow.
I'm sorry, y'all. My son just came upstairs and
Yeah.
the door open.
Well, we didn't even know. So I am taking that all in.
Yeah,
and
that's
I just envision how that may look. and you painted a great picture there. Have you? What were some of the struggles that you've encountered? Like what was the push? Have you met any pushback with the agency, and how hard was it to push through any of that?
Oh, so initially there was pushback because when I jumped into the agency, there was a certain person who was still president. It's like Voldemort. I do not say this person's name because this person's name should not ever be acknowledged. It should be written as history as the worst name possible. But during that administration, there was a lot of issue. We could not do programming. We could not put out questionnaires or we barely could have meetings. And if we had meetings, we couldn't really talk about anything substantial. We couldn't really provide support. I got you, Ashton. We couldn't talk about support, anything. So even when the administration changed, there was a survey that went out that was supposed to be a workplace discrimination survey. But the first two things on the survey were, do you identify as man or woman? How are you going to, in any type of way, do a discrimination survey when you're initially discriminatory?
That makes sense. I get that.
We had to.
You just answered a question that I was just about to ask you in terms of So that I appreciate you naming that. That makes sense.
So do you feel, and I know you're gender nonconforming, but do you feel as being a man in your agency that you have any more privilege than any of the women in your agency?
Being a cisgender presenting man, definitely, because sexism is still definitely a thing. And even when it comes to talking to cisgendered women, I have to remind them that I am not a cisgendered man. Because I know I present, I know I have the voice, I'm pretty muscular, I can run fast. Like, I get it. I get
You said you can run fast?
I can run fast. They see a black cisgendered man, they're like, athlete. Immediately. Like, athlete, he identifies as what his sex is. If he has a penis, he's a man, he's black, he's muscular, he has to be aggressive. Like, I deal with that every single day. We did an event with the Women's Forum. It was about, bringing light to trans women, right? And I'm very like, okay, let's get it done. And one of them hit me on the side. Was like, well, you're kind of like, you're very strong. I'm like, yeah. And we need to get this done. This has nothing to do with my gender. Y'all just not going fast enough. 2 weeks from now, we need to get this done. This has nothing to do with me having a penis. This has everything to do with you all being inefficient.
So what pushback do you get from our sisters, those that are women who identify women that are looking at you as a presenting cisgender male, and then when you share with them your or sexual orientation, what is the aha moment? What is the shock or what happens? What is the experience?
It's they project disbelief. They project a lot of there's no way. Like they're just like there's no way in the world that you're not flamboyant. You're not this. You're not. You still date women. There's no way in the world. It's that whole you can't be bisexual, pansexual thing because if you talk to a man, you're automatically gay concept. That people internalize still, whether man or woman.
Yeah. So explain to the people again what cisgender is in case people aren't aware.
So cisgendered, so whether you're a cisgender man or cisgender woman, it is that you identify with the socially conditioned standard that they put on a male or female.
Okay.
I don't that. I don't, nah.
You said nah. What does pride mean to you, Christopher?
Yeah. Good. That is a good one. Pride for me is it is not just the celebration, but it's like the acknowledgement and respect of people's multifaceted lives. To the point where whether you agree with the way that they live or not, you still want them to have healthy lives. Like, I don't understand people who are allies but will still vote against trans rights. I don't get it. It's, again, hypocrite. Don't get it. how can you say you love Jesus but not want somebody to have health care?
Yeah. I get that. I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what Jesus would do?
Yeah.
Jesus would deny somebody health care?
Yeah.
And that's for and you were talking about something earlier. The term is white fragility.
White
fragility.
White fragility.
He's just
White
like
people have an issue with being called out.
He's like saying white people.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I learned is that, and in conversation with white people, is that they get uncomfortable talking about certain things, right? And so, I mean, it's something that and I don't have to be that it's just them. I think a lot of people get uncomfortable with a lot of things that they don't normally have been socialized to talk about, right? And so even this conversation, I'm sure, is making people uncomfortable, even who are viewing or will view in the future. And shout out to the pastor who also mentioned about cisgender, I believe, and the sex that you were assigned to at birth, right?
Yep. It's the gender based off your sex that you're assigned to at birth. So if you have a penis, you're automatically a man. That's cisgendered man.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's, people get to be uncomfortable, right? And
you should be uncomfortable.
Right.
I mean, I think even when you are combating and standing up for an advocate for people, it is still uncomfortable, but there's a difference in what's whether or not it stops you from being the advocate or in action. That's what I would name. So there's a difference between the uncomfortable of where it's halts you. Well, that's a word. I need to write that down.
I was about to say, so when you were talking, Sean's preaching on Sunday. He takes notes for his Sunday message. I see him over there. That's why he's not looking down, because he's not paying attention. He tries.
No, well, first of all, I didn't know until Wednesday, and so I trust. I all shouts to our pastor, who's like, hey, he can do it in just a week, less than a week. So I'm good with that. But I think that it's powerful to recognize that being in an uncomfortable state actually is really pushing through or being in a state of awareness of where you are is very powerful.
Yes.
It's very powerful. And so action, whether, deciding to be fearful to put in action or deciding to, push forward. So, being in that state this week, I appreciate you naming that is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a state of discomfort. People love comfort, but just imagine if our bodies grow. When our bodies grow, it's not a comfortable thing.
It's not. When you get older,
if our bodies stop growing simply because it was uncomfortable.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I like that. So what's next for you?
Well, writing this dissertation, because that is the longest relationship I've been in my life, and I can't do more. I needed to wrap that thing up. So graduate May 2022. Looking to work in the federal sector a little bit longer to continue to advocate for. And then I want to go off, consult, and actually get back into ministry. And I'm looking for the type of just group or people to jump back in who is as passionate as I am about really sifting out within the African-American community the old ways. Like, because it's killing our families.
Absolutely.
It's splintering, destroying.
Yeah.
We're going to have to do 150 to 200 years of more therapy.
Yeah.
Not just because of white people, because of ourselves.
Yep.
And we're not seeing that. We're replicating. I call it internalized discrimination. We're literally replicating the tools of discrimination and using it on internal marginalized populations.
Yeah.
Denying internalized marginalized population rights. We're denying them access to resources and help. We're killing each other because somebody decides to be a different gender. People who look like us. We're doing what they did to us to ourselves.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, let me invite you to Reverend Dr. Jamie Washington, who is our pastor. I think that you should check us out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yep, I was about to say the same thing. Our motto here, and I'm all about everything that you said, right? So it's given us 90 days. So look no further. You are home, right? So welcome
No,
home.
seriously.
Home,
No, real
right?
talk. Like everything that you said you wanted, like that's who we are. Like we strive for that. And it's really, I appreciate this conversation. Thank you, Ashton, for setting this up. And we have to have you back. And I look forward to doing work with you in ministry. And because I think that hearing you talk about wanting to get into ministry, I think it's time that perhaps to let you know that there's an avenue for that opportunity. So, let's see about that.
It's one
with us. Unity Fellowship Church Movement. I hear you, Pastor. I love how
you don't have to look any further. And what I appreciate is the interrogation that you've already done,
yes.
and the experience that you've had. And so, what you already have the experience, the lived experience in your studying, additionally, and there's a community that needs you to step up, right? And so, just strongly encouraging you to lean into that and let spirit right?
Yeah.
So a little birdie told us that you used to be a pastor.
Yeah.
He said it.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I must have missed that.
Yes.
I was writing
Arizona, House of Power International Church. It was a smaller Kojic church.
And where was that?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona. Okay.
Yeah. It was good for the time, but I knew that when I think when you're dealing with anything, whether it be a occupation, whether it be a ministry, whether it be a marriage, you have to know sometimes when it's time to break.
Yeah, I dig.
Breaks are necessary.
Listen, breaks are necessary. Listen, you have been amazing, Chris. We, just dope information that you poured into us. We really appreciate it. We would love to have you back. I appreciate you naming. I think earlier in our conversation, we talked about having 3 partners. I want us to come. During the month of July, I want you to come back, and I want us to unpack some of that conversation that we had earlier in the green room. I think that would be amazing for people to hear that perspective from you, Matt. From you. So thank you for that. I don't know how much time you have. We're going to close out the show, and we would love to come back and talk with you. Thanks again for joining us. Thanks, Ashton, for connecting us with such a dope person. And so we look forward to hanging out with you some more.
Hey, my pleasure. The pleasure is mine, definitely.
All right. We appreciate you.
Hang out for a second.
That was amazing. Really good. I appreciate it.
I've learned some things. I feel like we've grown. I grew like a little bit in that in terms of some of the things that they were sharing. So it was really, really good.
Yeah. And so, yes. So I
felt like we could have talked to them forever. Like
we could have. There was more questions. There were more, and what just the transparency of being able to navigate the screw ups with pronouns and and gender, right? And so we can do a whole conversation. We can do all of that. What I shared yesterday at an event I had was, we got to give ourselves grace, right? And so what I appreciate about Chris is Chris says, I like to get it out there in the beginning. Like my pronouns are they, them,
omni,
right? And so just appreciating that he gave us a little grace as we were, navigating through that and then and operating. And so if you screw up pronouns, people, apologize and give yourself some grace, and then figure it out as you get through the conversation, and then learn why it's important for somebody to be referred to in their proper pronouns, and understand it's a learning experience. It's a learning experience for us all. So.
No, I agree, and my family is actually dealing with that right now, as my brother's child has just transitioned, and they are make reference to their pronouns being them, they. And I appreciate my family attempting to adjust. And I just want to say that publicly, like, and I'm one to like I always correct, like, hey, nope, that's not, nope, not. And you're right. Not only do they need to give grace to themselves, but other people need to give grace too. And that was a reminder to me to not be so hard on my brother or my mother, because it is an adjustment and everybody just isn't there. But what I appreciate is that they are trying to get there. And so they're trying. And so be mindful of that. And I appreciate Chris and how they articulated where they are and in the process and with people and how they move through with people who do mess up, right? Because we mess up even on here. And so for those that are out there that are dealing or trying or aware and just not quite sure, feeling some kind of way, Johnson made it very clear. Give yourself some grace. Continue to try, continue to be aware, and adjust in the process. And so, shout out to everybody.
Do some research. Google it.
Yes. Well, I don't know about Googling it.
Listen, just don't give me TikTok then.
I feel you. Yeah, our pastor just put us something. Just know that while we are trying, folks are feeling harm. Absolutely, and I think that's where the empathy and apology comes in. And I think Johnson
apologize, right? Yeah, I feel that.
We see you, Nadine Ross, Reverend Nadine Ross. He was one of the first assistant pastors for Unity Fellowship Church of Baltimore.
Wikipedia. Listen, no Wikipedia. You Google it, but at least if you Google it, you're learning something. Yeah. At least you're able to have a conversation, right? So, Sean, let's get back to, we got a couple of things. We can start with what's good to watch.
So I am not going to keep us long. So let's talk about that. So as we are talking about Pride, I think one of the most important things that I want everyone to watch is Pose. I want you to watch this last episode. It was so it warmed my heart. I'm sorry.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
No spoilers. Or how do you want me to, okay, so okay, no spoilers. Okay, so what I would name is I would invite you to watch Pose as they make reference to some game-changing events. And I think one of the things that I love about the show is it gives you the insight of what our trans community was dealing with at the time and how Ballroom was created and why it was created. In fact, I think that's going to be one of our shows at the end of this month is we're going to talk about the ballroom scene, which leads me into another show that I would invite everyone to watch is Legendary, which talks about the ballroom scene and the houses competing. So those are the two that I would enjoy, will offer that you watch and check out. So we will discuss and have some ball mothers and fathers as guests on the show. And we probably have to be a little long because that's going to take some time to unpack. So check us out and do that. It would be amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
So you want to end with some good memes for Pride?
I don't have Pride memes.
I can't. Dita on Prime. I'm gonna check that out, Pastor.
So
Ashton just always got something to say.
You know, I'm sure, Sean, you can't identify with this, but there are ladies. Lanita, where are you? There you are.
Listen, this is me every Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. I am like, can we reschedule? Like,
no, seriously. when women that, or I guess some men people have to deal with a hairdresser and you take that weave out or you pull those braids out and then the hairdresser want to reschedule. Okay, what's the next one, Ashton?
Hilarious. Sliced bread was invented in 1928. What?
Ron, is this what y'all were doing back then?
No, I wasn't born in 1928. People,
are you sure?
I am positive. I'm not quite sure if I get the meaning. What does that mean?
Oh my God. So if sliced bread was invented in 1928, then the year before, were people making sandwiches like this? Just cutting the bread loaf open and putting meat in it?
I don't get that one.
Okay, all right.
I don't get
Right, Lanita Oshaw.
Right.
So, okay, the story behind this. Read it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Go on, Sean.
Me after eating an entire rack of ribs. Well, you know how I feel about licking your fingers, so I really don't find this one.
So,
If anybody knows and hang out with me, tell them, Johnson.
let me tell you, Sean, absolutely. If you want to annoy him, Joy does it all the time. Just, when we go out to eat, Joy licks her fingers just to annoy Sean. It doesn't matter if she's had anything, she will just do it. Sean hates when people, like if you're having wings or something, you choose to lick your fingers and not wipe them off. Sean hates when people do that.
So let's talk about this. I only hate when people lick their fingers in public. Now, if you're at home and you lick your fingers, cool. But what you're not going to do is lick your fingers in a public restaurant while all these people looking around like you ain't had no meal. Like I'm talking about Johnson, Keith, and Joy licked their fingers like they was on the boat of Armistead going home and they just got the last biscuit with honey on it. I'm just trying to tell y'all. They don't use napkins. These cats be out licking fingers in public. In public. It annoys me. It's embarrassing. It's uncomfortable.
Okay, Ashley, what's the next one?
And it's rude. Gonna walk past. I ain't. What is this on the side? I don't. What is this?
Just a belt. Have you ever had your parent like? You know you about to get a spanking.
And you know what my mother is? Of course, this is my mother, like all the time. I just didn't know that was a belt. I was not sure what that was.
Right.
Like,
I think that's it.
Yeah, like we see that belt.
Oh no, it's not. So
I don't get this one either. Huh?
Do you know this story?
No, is that I don't.
Okay, so Ashton, you can pull it down so we can talk about this. Thank you.
I hate
so
Ashton, we're gonna talk when we get off.
So Monique did a video.
Oh yeah.
The girls in the or women in the airport with bonnets and like whatever on. So that's what that meme was. You didn't.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I am very aware of the comment and also the responses from Black men who have been, yeah, you right. Don't be wearing no bonnet with me, blah, blah, blah. And then I also just recently heard Frenchie Davis comment about, don't you be worried about what I'm wearing if you're not helping taking care of me or willing. I shouldn't say that. She didn't say taking care of me. What she said was, defending me if in public and someone is harming me and I'm a Black woman and you refuse to watch me. How about that? And I love that she did it brilliantly when she said, do not talk about my bonnet if you're not willing to protect me as a Black woman. I think that was real. How about that?
Yeah. He's been under a rock, Ashton. Listen.
Ashton, I wasn't under a rock. It just didn't make no sense. That meme did not talk to. I thought, first of all, I did think that was Monique, but it was a little like I guess it was highlighted. I don't know. It just seemed it didn't. Yeah, maybe I don't know. It didn't look like her. So
family and friends, we've had a wonderful evening. And we thank you so much for watching us tonight on Refuel. Chat it up. The Revs have been in.
Don't do that. I feel like that's so traditional. I was about to call you a title, but I'm not.
A what?
I'm about to give you a title, but I'm not. Oh, okay. Thank you, Ashton. Ashton just came to my aid. I think he did.
That. Like, that's all I shared last year. Like, ugh. Okay.
You know, speaking of, let's talk about something else. What's your thoughts on Naomi Osaka getting out of the French Open?
I don't have any thoughts on that.
You don't?
No, I'm kidding. So I think I think
so. She is such a.
I think that I am proud of her for protecting herself. No.
Oh, you just You just posed there. I thought you were doing one of the elements of ballroom, so I wasn't sure. No, I agree. I think that mental health is very important, and as we just moved from that month of awareness, that I think she stood up against a system that was pretty much going to tell her what she should do and how she should take care of herself. So I appreciate this young person as we are in this Children's Month celebrating our young people. I think that she did phenomenal. I think that, her stating that I will not do any media after I play because I think it impacts me on how I move forward after that. So I think it was brilliant. And I think that everyone that's coming to her aid is sharing a lot of history. The Williams sisters, I think, have been dynamic in showing up. I think that someone put out there about when Venus first came out, or when I think it was either Serena or Venus, when they were young, and the media was asking about being confident. She was like, I'm very confident. He was like, well, you sure you're confident? And then you hear the father come in and go, did she not tell you that she was confident? Do not ask my daughter again about being confident. And I think that was such a powerful moment. And then, thank you, it was Venus. Thank you, Ashton. And then to hear what Venus had to say recently, just kind of like blew me away. So, I think that was just absolutely powerful. And when she made reference to somebody, I think one of the media had asked, well, what do you think about Naomi's decision on not being in the French Open? And Venus said, or how do you deal with it? And Venus said, yeah, like I deal with it by naming that none of you all in here can light a candle to me. I am the professional pretty much. She was pretty much telling them, like, you can't do nothing that I can do. So I don't care about what you write or say about me. And I thought that was just so remarkable for a Black woman to stand up for another Black woman, or stand up for mental health, or stand up for how our people have been treated in terms of you need to be average because I'm average. And this goes back to what Washington was saying earlier about, realizing how people are average as AF, right? And she pretty much stood in that confidence that she talked about years ago when she was a child. And I think that every person, every little person, specifically our Black sisters and those who identify as our Black little girls, brown and Black, need to watch this as they see these powerful Black women stand up in their whole authentic self. And standing in pride, as we're talking about pride. It was phenomenal. If you have not seen any of those videos, check them out. They're all over social media right now. And shout out to Naomi. We're praying for her, and I appreciate her naming. I don't need the French Open. I don't need it because y'all know she just got $55 million, and so she don't need it. So I appreciate her knowing her value and the benefit and the impact versus wanting to get the bag. It was dope. So if you don't know anything about it, check it out. It was a very powerful moment. And so we're gonna end on that note. So all of y'all tennis fans out there, or not tennis fans, I encourage y'all to check it out.
Good.
I hate that look. That's Johnson's look, but she don't have nothing else to say. If y'all ever, that's
all. That's all, folks.
I can't.
Pride. Enjoy your weekends. Continue to be safe. Continue to if even if you're vaccinated, be safe.
Yeah, be safe.
Not vaccinated, consider it. Social distance. Wear your mask, even though you're not required to.
Don't say it so plain. Wear your mask in public to people you don't know. She was like, wear your mask, do it. Get yourself together. Hey, everybody. It was great. I hope you enjoyed it. Chris was amazing. What is Chris' last name? I got to pull it up real quick.
What is Chris like? Chris, it's Smith.
Oh,
Lanita, we love you. We love you. Good seeing you, Pastor Rose, Pastor Washington, everybody that's watching. Thank you so much for continuing to watch us. Subscribe, Sean.
No, seriously, do subscribe.
Yeah, please subscribe. Yeah. Refuel Chat it up on YouTube at Refuel CUP on
What's for
Instagram.
dinner, Johnson? What are you eating for dinner? I feel like you rolled in at the same time.
Boy made pernil, so I'm gonna eat that and some fried rice.
See, that's fancy upper class.
But hold on, listen. So she actually, the reason Braden came up here and blessed in the door is because she heard something in the fireplace, and so she thinks of cicadas in the fireplace. So she brought the boys upstairs. she abandoned the living room and brought the boys upstairs.
Did you not close the chute?
Yeah, it's closed.
Oh, okay.
I think I ain't used it since they've been born, so it may still be open. It's Loretta's fault. I'm gonna blame Loretta. It's Loretta's fault.
I'm still waiting for Loretta to come and build my platform for my movie room.
That's just
okay. All right. We just gotta. Hey, everybody. We love you. Johnson, kiss the kids for me. Good night, everybody.
Good night. He pulled the. Thank you all very much for joining us tonight.
Johnson, kiss the baby squad.
So yes, it's our show.
I love you too, and we're gonna get to do this again next week.
Have a good night, everybody.
Hey, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Shout it up. Subscribe to our Facebook. Get on subscribe. Here it is.
Right there.
Go to UFC Baltimore.
Catch the fist.